Hello guys. Welcome back. Hope you are doing good. Let's start with the book Dopamine Detox. The stimulation traps. As soon as you enter a state of overstimulation, your mind will play tricks on you to convince you there is no need to leave that trance. Instead, your mind encourages you to embrace it and seek even more stimulation. After all, we have to enjoy life, right? In this section, let's go over 4 tricks your mind plays on you to keep you overstimulated. Trick number 1: returning to work is easy. The first trick your mind will play on you is to pretend that returning to work will be easy. It will try to convince you that you can start work whenever you choose, that you're in control of your actions, but this couldn't be further from the truth. In most cases, you won't be able to get back to work for hours. You might even find yourself postponing your key tasks until the next day. The bottom line is, once you're overstimulated, you'll find it difficult to go back to work. I can't count how many times I told myself I would start writing later. It never happens. Therefore, if you catch yourself thinking you're in control of your actions and can return to work whenever you want, watch out. Trick number 2: you can do it later. Another trick your mind will use is to tell you that you can do your task later. It will convince you there is plenty of time in the afternoon, or that you can always do it tomorrow, next week or next month. However, if you don't fight back, putting things off will become a habit. And 5 years from now, you'll be angry at yourself for having accomplished so few goals. Trick number 3: excitement is not the same thing as fulfillment. When you're engrossed in stimulating activities, your mind will sell you on how much fun and enjoyment you are having. You should do more of it. Don't worry about anything else for now. Just enjoy yourself, or so your mind says. But whatever your mind says, excitement doesn't equal fulfillment. Once your level of stimulation reverts back to normal, ask yourself the following questions. How much did I actually benefit from watching YouTube videos, scrolling through my Facebook newsfeed, or checking my emails repeatedly? In hindsight, was the time spent in a meaningful way? Did it enhance the quality of your life? Remember, excitement isn't fulfillment. Excitement can be fun, but make sure you work on developing an inner sense of peace and a heightened state of focus. This is much more likely to bring you fulfillment in the long run. If you want to learn how to use your time both effectively and meaningfully in greater depth, read Book 8 in my Mastery series, Master Your Time. Trick number 4: you're missing out. Checking emails or news every 30 minutes gives you the illusion of having some control over your environment. You don't want to miss an urgent email or the latest breaking news, right? But do you always need to reply to emails right away? Do you really have to check the latest news regularly? This way of thinking results from the fear of missing out, and this fear reflects a scarcity mindset, which is based on the idea that there might be a limited number of opportunities available to you. As such, you should seize each opportunity while you still can, shouldn't you? But opportunities are everywhere. There will always be more in the future. Thus, if you miss a piece of news, were unable to join a particular event, or failed to watch your favorite YouTuber's last live video, it's okay. Sure, I wouldn't recommend you miss the birth of your children or the wedding of your brother or sister, but for most events, it doesn't matter. Personally, I seldom read the news and never answer my phone, unless I know who the caller is. And I almost never worry about missing a specific event, because I know there will always be more events to enjoy in the future. What about you? Do you experience the fear of missing out? As you go through your day, take note of whenever you fall into these traps. Awareness will help as you start to work on lowering your level of stimulation and becoming more focused on your goals. Part 3. The benefits of a detox. The different types of dopamine detox and their respective benefits. So far, we've seen that one of the major problems preventing you doing the hard work is overstimulation. Therefore, the solution to tackling your major tasks is to reduce your level of stimulation. This is what the dopamine detox is for. What is dopamine detox? Dopamine detox describes the following process. The reduction of stimulation to prevent overstimulation and put you in the proper state of mind to tackle major tasks. Quick disclaimer: scientifically speaking, the term dopamine detox is incorrect, as it seems to imply that you're releasing too much dopamine into your system. In truth, when you're overstimulated, you simply need more external stimuli for the same amount of dopamine to be released. A dopamine detox helps reduce stimulation, thereby allowing you to revert to a more natural state. When you need less stimulation, seemingly challenging, boring or tedious tasks will become more appealing and easier to tackle. Now, let's have a look at the different types of dopamine detox available. In this book, I will introduce you to 3 distinct types as below. The 48-hour complete dopamine detox, the 24-hour dopamine detox, the partial dopamine detox. Let's describe each process in greater depth and discuss how they work. The 48-hour complete dopamine detox. This is the most demanding type of dopamine detox. The premise is simple. You must eliminate most or all sources of external stimulation for a total of 48 hours. Doing so will help you reduce your overall level of stimulation and revert to your natural state. You will feel much calmer and find it easier to focus on any specific important task. By eliminating all external sources of stimulation, I mean you need to remove the following things from your life for 48 hours. Drug, alcohol consumption, exercising, internet, movies, music, except perhaps for relaxation music, phone, social media, sugar, processed foods, and video games. Each of the above activities stimulates you, some more than others. Now, you might wonder, if I eliminate these distractions, what should I be doing instead? Here are some suggestions. Going for a contemplative walk, journaling, meditating, relaxing, practicing awareness exercises, reading, except stimulating read perhaps, and stretching exercises. As you can see, the 48-hour dopamine detox is intensive and might appear rather drastic, but it could be even more extreme. One of my friends, Nils, attended a Vipassana retreat, which is a 10-day meditation retreat. During the 10 days, the participants are required to maintain complete silence and have no gesture or eye contact with anyone. Have no physical contact, take no physical exercise, stop smoking, drinking, or taking any other drugs, give up their phone and internet, and have no outside contacts, avoid music, reading, and writing, and avoid filming or taking pictures. By comparison, the 48-hour dopamine detox sounds easy, right? Nils relates his experience in detail in his article, My 10-Day Vipassana Experience, Silent Meditation Retreat. The 24-hour dopamine detox. This type is similar to the 48-hour dopamine detox, but is, by definition, shorter. As such, although it will be easier, it will also be a little less effective. Note that it can take several days for your stimulation to revert to its natural level. The partial dopamine detox. This type is less demanding, but it can be highly effective when maintained over a longer period of time. It entails removing your biggest source of stimulation. Usually, one specific activity acts as your greatest distraction. For instance, for me, it is YouTube. What about you? What's your biggest source of stimulation? Here starts Part 4. A 3-step method for a successful detox. In this section, we'll go over a simple 3-step method to help you perform a successful dopamine detox. Step number 1. Identify your biggest distractions. The first step to implementing an effective dopamine detox is to identify your biggest temptations and distractions. To do so, take a pen and a sheet of paper, or use your action guide, and create 2 columns, cans and can'ts. In the first column, write down all the activities you will allow yourself to engage in. For instance, it might be going for a walk, journaling, working on a project, or reading books. In the second column, write down all the things you must avoid doing during your dopamine detox. For instance, it might be watching YouTube, checking your emails, or using social media. To help you do this, ask yourself the following questions. If I stop doing only one thing, which one would increase my focus and boost my productivity the most dramatically? What other activity do I need to avoid in order to help me increase my focus most significantly? Keep asking yourself this question until you're happy with your answers. Once you have completed your list, put it on your desk or somewhere you will see it. It will act as a good reminder of the activities you must avoid. Step number 2. Add friction. Generally speaking, the harder something is to access, the less likely you are to do it, and vice versa. This is why you must redesign your environment to make undesirable behaviors more difficult to engage in, while making more desirable behaviors easier to conduct. Look at the habits or activities you want to eliminate and ask yourself how you could add friction. The more friction, the better. For instance, if your phone is your biggest distraction, remove all notifications or put it on airplane mode. Or even better, switch it off and put it in a separate room. If Facebook is your biggest distraction, remove as many notifications as you can and/or use applications such as Newsfeed Eradicator, a Google Chrome extension. If you spend hours watching YouTube videos, install DFTube on your Google Chrome navigator, or find a similar app for your internet browser. This will remove all the suggestions and notifications. Then only watch videos that serve a specific purpose. Adding friction might sound overly simple, but it works. This is because, as humans, we're fundamentally lazy. We hate wasting energy unless we are forced to. If you need to go to another room to grab your phone, friction no. 1, and also need to turn it on. Friction number 2. you are less likely to do it for a while. After I put my internet modem in my storage room. To get it back I needed to leave my apartment. Friction number 1. Take the elevator to descend 4 floors. Friction number 2. Open 4 doors. Friction number 3. No. Point 4. No. Point 5, and no. Point 6 to reach my modem, and repeat the actions in reverse. Friction no. Point 7 to no. Point 12. This is a great deal of friction, since I spent energy to take my modem to the storage room in the first place. My mind resisted getting it back right away. This would be a great waste of energy, which my mind doesn't like. The bottom line is, the more difficult you make it to engage in unwanted behaviors, the better. Conversely, make your desired behaviors as frictionless as possible. For instance, to facilitate writing in the morning, I avoid checking my phone or my emails, and leave my word processor open. Then, I often put on relaxing music and use a timer. I like to do 45-minute work sessions. By doing so, I've removed friction and obtained the buy-in from my mind. It wouldn't make sense if I suddenly stopped the music, paused the timer, and moved on to another activity. My mind would see it as a waste of energy. Of course, I may still procrastinate, but removing friction and creating a simple routine reduces the chances of me doing so. Your turn now. How could you add friction to eliminate unwanted behaviors? Look at your list of can'ts. Next to each of them, write down specific things you could do to add friction. Then, look at your list of cans and write down things you could do to eliminate friction. Remember, your mind is lazy. Use this to your advantage. Step no. Point 3. Start first thing in the morning. The third and final step is simply to get started. I recommend you start first thing in the morning before becoming overly stimulated. I've noticed that if I check my phone or access the internet upon waking up, I will probably become distracted. I also recommend you create a morning routine to help you start your day on a positive note and with a strong focus. Over the long term, a simple morning routine can make a massive difference in your life. What about you? What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Does this help you remain calm and focused? Or does it lead you to feel overstimulated and result in procrastination? To establish your morning routine, write down 2 or 3 simple things you could do each morning. You'll use these activities to kickstart your dopamine detox and, hopefully, you will stick to the routine over the long term. Remember that the routine should deepen your focus rather than stimulate you. For instance, you could meditate, stretch, listen to some relaxation music, write down your goals for the day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, or repeat positive affirmations. Tips to make the most of your dopamine detox. Below are a few tips that will help you maximize the benefits you'll obtain from your dopamine detox. Take notes. During your dopamine detox, I encourage you to take notes. If you feel restless, write it down. If you experience an urge to check your phone or to watch videos, write this down too. That way, you'll be able to identify your biggest sources of stimulation and learn more about the way your brain works. Reflect on your life. When we're constantly busy and overstimulated, we sometimes fail to take a step back. We can't see the forest for the trees. Use your dopamine detox as a way to zoom out. To do so, reflect on your goals. What goals are you pursuing? Are they the right ones for you? Are you making progress toward them each day? And if you keep doing what you're doing, will you reach them? Assess how you're using your time. Are you being truly productive each day? Do you spend time on things that matter? Which activities or projects do you really need to focus on? Which ones do you want to stop doing? Self-reflect. Are you where you want to be in life? What inner work could you do to improve yourself? Solve your problems. If you have any problems or worries, write them down alongside potential solutions. Just putting your thoughts on paper can help you declutter your mind and gain clarity. This is because it's difficult to address thoughts that stay in your mind. You tend to ruminate on them. On the other hand, writing them down makes them more concrete. It helps clarify your thinking. By giving words to your thoughts or worries, you can address them more easily. I encourage you to take a pen and a sheet of paper and answer the questions above. In the absence of highly stimulating activities, you'll be calmer and more relaxed, and this, in turn, will allow you to develop greater insight. More generally speaking, dedicating time to thinking each week can make a major difference in your life. It can prevent you making big mistakes and save you a great deal of time and energy. Therefore, refuse to let busyness be an excuse to avoid reflecting on your life. Identify your fears. Finally, our never-ending search for stimulation is often an attempt to hide our fears. Being busy enables us to avoid having to face unpleasant feelings and scary truths about ourselves. Thus, if you notice certain disempowering thoughts or underlying fears, write them down too. Here starts Part 5. Doing the work and overcoming procrastination. One of the main goals of a dopamine detox is to lower your level of stimulation to help you feel more motivated to work on key tasks. In this section, we'll see what you can do to maintain the momentum and overcome your tendency to procrastinate. Plan your day. Being intentional with your day is an effective way to boost your productivity. When you take time each day to decide what you want to accomplish, you limit the risk of distraction. Consequently, the more intentional you are, the better. Planning your day is important for the following reasons. It gives you an opportunity to clarify which tasks are important and which ones aren't. It reduces the odds of your mind distracting you during the day. Because you know exactly what you have to do, you can move from one task to the next smoothly and without distractions. You will feel less stressed and more in control. Instead of reacting to your environment and letting it distract you, you will move toward your goals proactively. How to plan your day. You don't need fancy tools to plan your day. Instead, you can use a secret technique forgotten by many: pen and paper. Simply write down a few key tasks you must achieve today. 3 to 5 tasks might be ideal. Place them in order of importance and start working on your first task. Once you complete it, proceed to the next. Repeat the process until you have completed all the tasks on your list. Now, here are a few things to consider. Make sure these are key tasks that move the needle forward. To help you identify your major tasks, you can ask yourself the following question: if I could complete only one task today, which one would have the greatest impact? If you're still unsure, ask yourself this question: if I could complete only one task today before taking a month off, what would that task be? You'll notice that your most important tasks are often the ones you want to do the least. Perhaps it's because they are challenging. Perhaps you don't know where to start. Or perhaps they're boring. But your dopamine detox will help make these tasks easier to tackle. Note that you can use the same method to set weekly, quarterly, monthly, and yearly goals. I also recommend you create a long-term vision. It could be a 5 or 10-year plan. Of course, it won't be perfect, but simply having an idea of the direction to follow will make a huge difference. To set short-term goals, reverse engineer what you must do to reach your long-term goals. For instance, if I want to write a book in the next 90 days, one goal could be to create an outline. Another could be to complete the first draft. And to hit that target, I could establish a specific daily word count. Schedule one major task to work on each morning. While there are thousands of books on productivity, only a few principles matter. I believe the most important one is to identify your key task and tackle it first thing in the morning, and do this consistently. Even though you might have a never-ending to-do list, there are always a few major tasks that, when completed, will skyrocket your productivity. Unless you can complete them, nothing else will really matter. The key to productivity can be summarized in 3 words. 1. Focus. 2. Consistency. And 3. Impact. 1. Focus is your ability to maintain your concentration and avoid distraction or procrastination while working on your tasks. 2. Consistency means developing the habit of working on your key tasks every day, week after week, month after month, and year after year. 3. Impact means identifying your key tasks, the ones that have the greatest impact on your long-term success, and working on them as often as possible. Productivity can then be defined as having consistent focus on your most impactful tasks. Now, let's see what you can do specifically to stay focused on your most important task each day. Develop laser-sharp focus. Your ability to develop laser-sharp focus is one of the most important things you can do to improve your productivity. By focusing on your key tasks consistently for just 45 minutes daily, you can make more progress than you can with almost anything else you could be doing instead. In this section, we'll discuss specific things you can do to build your focus and complete your key tasks each day. 1. Be at the same place, at the same time every day. As we mentioned before, a simple daily routine will help you condition your mind, help you feel more in control, and lower your stimulation. As a result, starting work will become easier. One thing that will strengthen your routine is to be at the same place at the same time each day. The famous writer, Stephen King, sits at his desk every day at the same time and writes. He doesn't wait for inspiration to come. Instead, he starts, knowing that inspiration will come as he immerses himself in his work. Do the same thing. Choose a time and place where you'll be tackling your major tasks each day. Then, practice doing it one day at a time, and you will gradually build your consistency and focus. Remember, productivity is nothing more than focusing on your most impactful tasks and doing so consistently. What about you? Where will you be when you dedicate time to do your most important work, and when will you start? 2. Choose a trigger. As you create your routine, choose a specific trigger. It could be making tea and sitting at your desk, or it could be completing your meditation session. Try to select a trigger that will help calm your mind. When you are relaxed, you'll find it easier to begin work. What about you? What activity could kickstart your daily routine? 3. Get started. Once you have created your routine and identified your trigger, get started. If you can start work on your tasks for a few minutes, you'll likely build enough momentum to keep going. You might even experience flow. Named by the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the flow is a mental state in which you're so fully immersed in an activity that you become hyperfocused, while experiencing a sense of underlying enjoyment. Again, the more relaxed you are, the easier it will be to focus. So, just get started and don't worry about completing your task perfectly. It's okay if you don't feel motivated or creative. Taking action will generate motivation and stimulate your creativity. 4. Eliminate distractions. When you work, remove all distractions, turn off notifications on your phone, disconnect from social media, and stay away from the internet, unless it's needed for specific research. In addition, ask others not to disturb you. The more you practice working distraction-free, the stronger your focus will become. 5. Work without interruptions. Now that you have eliminated distractions, work continuously, without interruptions. I recommend 45 minutes of intense work as a maximum. If you want to do several sessions, take a 5 to 10 minute break between each work block. Following the 5 steps above will strengthen your focus and boost your productivity. And, as you procrastinate less, you'll feel better, which will positively impact other areas of your life. To learn more on how to develop laser-sharp focus, refer to Book 3 in this series, Powerful Focus. Beware of open systems. The activities with the biggest potential for distractions are usually part of an open system. What is an open system? An open system is simply an application or situation that provides you with a continuous and never-ending supply of external stimuli. Some examples are emails, Facebook, YouTube, and, more generally, the internet as a whole. Whenever you enter an open system, you risk becoming overstimulated. For instance, if the first thing you do in the morning is to check Facebook, you might find yourself scrolling down your newsfeed for no reason, watching one video after the next, or messaging a friend and entering a long conversation. Once you finally close Facebook, you might find yourself so stimulated, you'll struggle to begin work. This is why you must guard against entering an open system and understand the risk you take if you do so. With open systems, there is no end to reach, no point at which you can ever be finished, and an almost infinite number of ways to become distracted. As a result, you can end up wasting hours of your time each day. In short, open systems create distractions. Instead, you should strive to design closed systems. What are closed systems? These are systems that offer little or no room for distractions. As a result, they force you to work on your task and only on it. Some examples are Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, or PowerPoint presentations. These days, I strive to open the file for the book I'm currently writing before doing anything else on my computer. I also avoid checking my phone. In other words, I start my day with a closed system, and I encourage you to do the same. When you begin your working day with a closed system, you can avoid becoming overstimulated, which will make it easier for you to work on challenging tasks. And as you do so each day, you'll feel better and will want to work on even more tasks. So, perhaps one of the biggest secrets to overcoming procrastination and becoming more productive is to start your day with a closed system. This way, you can avoid countless distractions. Remember, what you do first thing in the morning matters far more than you think. Just one tiny decision can have a dramatic effect on your day's productivity.